Hey, what's going on, everyone? So, pretty common here. So, hopefully, I'm not too late in your decision for the Gundam G Cell Perfect Pack and then that Unicorn Gundam over here because I'm gonna be doing a quick review for these two guys over here. I don't recall I do like a full review like how like these kind of format. So, but I will have obviously I will have the stats on the side as well. But there isn't gonna be like a ranking comparison for these two guys over here. Just gonna quickly talk about how they are and like anyone to really to if you guys have any parts like you guys don't really have to summon on it per se, you guys can just quickly go to the event blueprint over here and we can go to the tools and that you can just that is if you have summon for this material C week. If you guys have, you guys can just quickly go over here and use one of those this week's material and just pick up one of these their own limited time L bash over here, and then you guys can just alternate any parts you guys would like. So first things first, we are gonna talk about G Self Perfect Pack first. So this is more of a like game, like after looking at all the parts, like all those portrait tags, I would say the tag is more oriented to like a combo build, so like a melee and shot build combined. Because if we quickly take a look at some of his tags over here, look at that. You have exclusive and high mobility over here. So this is clearly designed for to be more of like a dual build type over here. So in terms of the head, excellent portrait over here, but this one modern shot build head doesn't really have like a restriction. So this one having just a slight restriction on it, just kind of like kind of devalues slightly over here. So I don't think the head is something you want to really focus on as well, just because like the stat is just kind of awful as well. uh as for something, if you have the leg, I think the leg is definitely something you can alterate for sure, because this is a double EXQ power boosting over here. So in theory, you can put this on either build, melee or shot, no problem. If this one would have, instead of Gundam type, a high mobility, you can place a fit. You can fit this right onto like any melee build, no problem. The only thing you're gonna have to do is subslot something that's subslot out a high, not high, ace exclusive over here, and this will be good. But there are some melee part legs that does have like a Gundam type over here. So in theory, you can kind of subslot this, and then you can work something out. I think sacrificing one tag slot is perfectly fine. Judging by the fact this one does have a pretty excellent set of portrait over here. But this one is locked to a P attribute, and then this one is when you are only using beam EXQ. So I would say it is a little bit of a hindrance, but if you guys can kind of work things out with this one over here, I think it's a pretty good set of portrait over here. In terms of if there's some kind of EXQ you would like for hitting multiple enemy, okay, the chest got you over here. Because the chest over here has an omnidirectional laser over here. This is more like on part of like a AOE EXQ over here. This one does jump up to A minus afterward, but I don't think that is doesn't really need it. I think just having a B plus pre-alteration is just perfectly fine. I think in terms of damage output, it's not gonna be like, oh, anything really like outrageously increases in a way. So I think if you guys want to save on some alteration tools, I think just having it pre-alteration is perfectly fine. So other than that, I don't think any of the other one are anything worth mentioning. Backpack EXQ is more of like the first usage is only 12 seconds, so these are pretty good. When when your initial charge is not something that's of like a 20% or more than that. So these are pretty good, but in terms of that, like the power wise, it's gonna be significantly crippled it, just because it's not gonna be that S power over here. But nonetheless, it is gonna be a pretty good uh, EXQ over here. Effects as well is pretty excellent as well. You do get a raise in melee and shot attack to your squad by, I think at max is up to 29%, which is pretty good. So pretty good supporting type elements over here, so not too bad overall. In terms of the shield, just a quick review for it. I don't think the shield is anything too like outrageously good in like in today's meta. This one, when one enemy is shot down, boost job gauge by 50% once over here. This one I say for usability, definitely for battle kit, I can kind of see this happening to be pretty good. Because like once you kind of shot down that one enemy, you can quickly use that job gauge and kind of clear that lap a little bit more faster. But other than that, this is not gonna be not gonna be good for like arena matches, so this is not gonna be too good. As for like multi missions, probably not the best case scenario because I don't think you're not really too reliant on like the job gauge for like longer events. As for the second portrait, buff EXQ time up by 30%. So if this is buff EXQ effect up by 30%, this one will be 100% the better parts to be picked up. But just because it's up on time, it's probably not something too ideal to use. So that's that for over here. As for the perfect pack over here, the G-Cell perfect pack, I think that leg is a top recommendation. The head is kind of outdated, and the portrait is not anything too surprising or anything too sufficient in a way. As for EXQ, I think having going for the chest is something good. That is pertaining if you guys have any of these part over here and are can't really decide what to alterate. Because I do personally do have the full set of the G self over here. Just quickly take a look. It's gonna be this one over here, right? No, this one over here. So yeah, I do have the perfect pack, the whole thing over here. As for the beam saber and then the beam rifle, I am using the standard 4-star the G self atmosphere pack. It does fit perfectly fine, same attribute and whatnot. So in terms of this guy over here, I say the final word tag is gonna be Gundam type. No, it's gonna be high mobility. Yeah, high mobility, Gundam type, and Ace exclusive over here. So this is more oriented to like a shop build, but you can kind of mix in a little bit of a melee into this as well. So here is this guy over here, and then we're gonna quickly talk about the Night Unicorn, which I think is probably the better of these two over here. First thing I need to recommend getting is gonna be the arm over here because the arm is one of those EXQ or the part tray that have like EXQ CD reduced by 20%. So this is gonna be pretty good if you guys trying to build out that up to that 100% CD reduction build over here. I think recently we do have more portrait that have these kind of EXQ already or portrait over here. So they like back then this was like something really like limited because there's not a lot of ports that do have EXQ reduced by 20%. So I think nowadays it's a little bit more common. So if you want to skip out on the arm, it's perfectly fine, right? Because back then I was kind of praying how good the arm is over here. But like if we take a look at today's meta over here, arm stat with portrait nowadays do jump up to like at least 1,000 more than this one. What this one is doing over here. So I don't think if you're not someone who is playing with like a full on one like if you do want this kind of portrait, I think having the armor is perfectly fine. I would say, but if you guys just want like purely offensive stat, I don't think this one is not gonna be the most beneficial. But it just really depends on players to players over here. If you guys do have the shield, I think the shield is a pretty excellent portrait EXQ as well. This is the call over here, so it's gonna summon a magic spell call to rainstorm upon your enemy from air over here. So this one is more like a projectile. Easier just hit your enemy within the proximity of the map. So anywhere your enemy is, I'm not sure what is like the maximum range you can like use it, but it's gonna hit your. No, there is actually a range because one I believe the 11 battle skin when we fought against the Night Unicorn, when you get out of a certain range, this EXQ will not hit you at all. So, but nonetheless, this is a pretty good EXQ just to be having. I think using it for, I would say for battles, not for, I would say using it for like arena would be pretty good as well. Like especially for 3v3 arena, I think this one is a pretty good shield to be using over here. As for any of the other one, I think the leg is also good as well. Yeah, I mean the leg is alright, but the second portrait is kind of redundant because you are locked to a shield EXQ. I don't think there are too many really good shield EXQ. I mean they are right. In terms of like melee, you do have a lot. You do have the Fusion Shield, which is pretty good. But other than that, like I don't think there's too many shield coming out from a lot of units over here. So, but this one, in terms of attack, close combat, and from computer, is not the ideal setup over here. But the stat is actually pretty decently high. Like, throughout the stat of the Night Unicorn is actually pretty high. I think that's something I didn't actually talk about for the G Cell Perfect Pack as well, because like the shot, like the, we're gonna take a quick detour. Excuse me. In terms of the backpack, I think the backpack, and to this day, still holds one of the higher shot attack stat. But this one, you do have high mobility, so you're gonna have to work extra hard trying to get replaced to a more of like a shot build space tag over here. But nonetheless, going back to the Unite Unicorn over here. Other than that, I don't think there's anything worth managing to really alterate over here. Obviously, if you're just purely looking at the raw stat over here, I don't think the Night Unicorn is gonna be something good to be using. This portrait is not good. Like, what is that? Nope. I think the backpack as well. I don't know why they give this guy a double healing for some reason. Like, just for the fuzzy, right? Just for fun. They want to do this, so that's not good. I think the sword, maybe the very last option as well, are pretty good. Do have initial EX charge boosted by 20%, so these are always good to have if you guys are lacking some of these. I think the shield, or not that shield, the sword is something good to be grabbing. I would say the stats on the distro over here is more of like on the lower tier. I would say most of them. I mean, it's not the lowest of the lowest, but it can be higher in today's standard. But if this is something you have, you like this one, it's a good to go. Like, in terms of tech, you are looking at close combat and high mobility, which is fine, right? So you can double up the sword in this one. You have a pretty good stat over here. So this guy, these two folks over here, I believe, came out late January, I believe, if I recall. Yeah, late January. I think that's what it was. So, it aged pretty well. I would say. There's a lot of parts are still viable. Like the Night Unicorn, I think it's more it aged much well. It aged better. I think that's the correct way of putting it. As for the G self over here, I think this focusing on that dual build is not the best case scenario, right? So, just for that, I don't think G self deserves too much of attention. But there are a few parts like the leg and then the chest E skill are something to pretty much to consider about. But other than that, I think all the other parts are just we do have better versions of them already. So with that being said, this is a quick review for these two. If you guys do have any like thoughts and like, oh, which one to pick, those are my recommendation for these two over here. So with that being said, this is it for this video, and then I will catch you guys all on the next one.